Good morning, everyone. My name is Justyna Orłowska, and on behalf of my teammates, I would like to share with you a brief report on our recent experimental work related to Osseous Barbed projectile points and new insights into early and middle Holocene hunter-gatherer fisher hunting techniques. And first of all, I would like to apologize for the condition of my voice today. Unfortunately, I've got a cold, so please keep this in mind if you hear any unnecessary sound. Before diving into the details of our experimental research, I would like to share that the studies presented today are part of an ongoing project titled Life and Death Written in Bones: The Technological and Functional Aspects of the Osseous Artifacts of Early and Middle Holocene Hunter-Gatherer Fisher Communities Inhabiting the East Baltic, and the project is generously funded by the National Science Center in Poland. The project analyzes collections of Osseous artifacts from the most important sites in this part of Europe. The primary goal of these studies is to build a comprehensive understanding of how products made from osseous materials, such as bone, antler, and animal teeth, were manufactured and used by hunter-gatherer fisher communities, Mesolithic and Subneolithic, inhabiting the area of the East Baltic Plain, territories of Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and the northeastern part of Poland. In the Early and Middle Holocene, we are examining both artifacts from museum collections, which originate from previous excavations, as well as those currently being discovered in ongoing excavations, like those from sites in Kaltanai and Garnes in Lithuania. And among the analyzed collections, a rich assortment of various types of projectile weapon elements plays a vital role. It is well known that one of the most essential attributes of hunter-gatherer equipment is projectile weaponry, particularly barbed points made from osseous materials. And until now, much of the research has concentrated on the chronological, typological, and cultural aspects of these tools. However, the debate surrounding their exact function and the identification of the prey they targeted remains mostly unresolved. And as part of our project, we have analyzed dozens of morphologically diverse barbed points, and through this process, numerous new questions have emerged regarding their probable uses and the character morphology of useful traces visible on their surface. We should be aware that from the beginning of the 20th century, researchers have argued that these tools were used exclusively as fishing gear or on both terrestrial and aquatic prey. And the function of Osseous barbed points has been mostly based on direct and indirect association with faunal remains, but also ethnographic comparisons and sporadically with useful studies that were mostly limited to fracture patterns and only sporadically to microwear traces. Thanks to the exceptional preservation of many of the artifacts and the unique nature of the sites included in the study, as I mentioned, we were able to initiate detailed analysis to classify the useful traces that form on Osseous projectiles. This traceological analysis revealed a significant absence of impact breakages typically associated with this type of weapon on most of the artifacts. And considering that the majority of the analyzed finds were recovered from sites with aquatic context, we proposed the hypothesis that these artifacts may have been used for hunting aquatic animals. All the more so, as there are examples from archaeological Mesolithic sites where barbed bone points were found in direct association with the prey animal. More importantly, one of these exceptional finds came from the Kunda site in Estonia, where part of the studied Osseous barbed points originate. It is a very interesting find because at the bottom of the fossil Kunda lake, in a layer dated to the 8th millennium Cal BC, Inreco discovered a complete skeleton of a pikefish, preserved in anatomical order, along with a so-called Kunda-type barbed point, and it was assumed that the point was the remnant of a single fishing spear. So for us, in the context of materials which we are dealing with, it was the next clue that could fulfill our hypothesis regarding the finds from the studied sites. And to test this hypothesis, we conducted experimental research to create a reference collection of useful traces forming at the surface of different barbed points used to hunt a water prey. And our presentation will present the experiments focused on fish hunting with various methods, including bows and spears. They aim to understand better the morphological features and distribution of useful damage typical for hunting of this kind of prey with bone points, and differences relative to points used for hunting terrestrial prey. Here you can see setting up of our experimental station. In total, 33 fresh fish, each mounted individually on a specially prepared spot in the water, were used as targets. And please don't worry, no living animal was harmed. All fish were bought by us directly from fishermen. In the first stage, experiments were conducted with handheld piercing hunting weapons, spears, and during these experiments, 3 Osseous barbed spearheads were used. They were mounted in shafts, which were approximately 1.5 meters long, with the help of which they were driven into the target. You can see some photos taken during the experimental works. All spearheads penetrated the fish bodies without any problem, and frankly, it was very interesting experience. At this stage, in total 60 strikes were performed with each single barbed point, and each fish was hit 10 times. And in this second stage, archery experiments were conducted using 8 arrows equipped with Osseous tips. 6 of them were made of metapodial red deer bones and 2 of red deer antler, and a straight bow with a draw weight of 12 kilo was used to shoot the arrows. And they were mounted on the arrow shafts with a simple leather straps. In the previous stage, fish were used as targets, each attached to a special stand submerged in water, and shooting was carried out from a distance of approximately 2–3 meters. All types of arrowheads successfully perforated the target fish without significant difficulty.
Się nie liczy, bo się zapląta. Wstrzymało grot, widzisz?
A total of 50 shots were performed, with each individual barbed point, with each fish being struck 10 times. The first traceological analysis that was performed on spearheads and arrowheads used in the experiments showed the presence of very intensive and quite characteristic usual traces on their surface. The next stage of our research will be their precise classification, which may allow for distinguishing between points and barbed points used for hunting aquatic and terrestrial animals. However, the realization of this goal undoubtedly requires further in-depth studies. Summarizing, the experimental work carried out with the Osseous projectile points resulted in a few generalizing insights regarding the manner of damage visible on the used points. The experiments showed that Osseous projectile points could be used for a very long time until they were lost or completely destroyed. And currently work is underway to classify the observed damage and its detailed characteristics. The full results of these studies will be published in the form of an article in the near future. That would be all for now. Thank you for your attention and have a great conference.